Hello, hi, and welcome to the vlog. You join me here on a bench by Embankment Tube Station. Can you imagine that? It's 6 PM and I'm ecstatic to say the sun is in the sky. And why? Oh, why would I want to be anywhere else? Why am I here? So when I was in my 20s, I worked in a bookshop in Trafalgar Square, just around the corner, and on a sunny day just as this, I'd come and have lunch on this very bench, and I would look out of the river and I'd just let my mind wander. I'd think, I'd hope, dare I say I'd even dream. And it's a great place for it. I've always loved being near water. You've got the Eye just over there. It's a very Londoner thing, I think, or at least those of us who have come from elsewhere and made London our home. It's a big city, it's noisy, a lot of stuff happens all the time. Things come and go so quickly, it feels like time moves very different here. It can be a lot, but now and again, you'll have a moment, a little glimmer, where you stop and you take stock and you look around and you go, wow, I'm in London. And this is one of my spots. When we went into lockdown and I couldn't go into town, the one place I really wanted to visit most of all was this bench, just to have a coffee and think. And right now I need a good thing, to be honest with you, because after having such a massive growth year, this year I feel like I've stumbled a little bit. Part of that is the evil winter. I'm a sweet summer child and I always have been. And so when the days get grey, and England this year has been particularly grey, things can be a bit of a challenge, which is another reason why I'm sat on this bench at 6 PM, just marvelling at the fact that the sun is back up, because we've reached that time of the year where the evening comes along, but the sun doesn't go away. I need that. But another part is just the simple reality of like realising a dream in a safe and stable environment like a drama school, and then suddenly being out in the real world, and you realise that the next part of that dream comes with uncertainty and instability and a lack of structure that a brain like mine, it's not best pleased with. And all of that has conspired lately to let bad brain take over. Let me tell you about bad brain. Bad brain doesn't need logic. Bad brain does not need evidence. It looks for gaps in reality and worms its way in to start trying to control the narrative. And so good brain needs evidence to be able to fight back against bad brain. And I think right now good brain needs a little bit of a helping hand. And so we're going to begin that with cake. So in April 2020, when I was longing for the bench, I did a guided meditation. I think we all did. We needed it. For me, I was existential. There's nothing like turning 30 right at the start of a global calamity for you to have good reason to wander around going, I've achieved nothing of note with my life. You know, hence the meditation. So I got myself settled on the balcony. There was a lovely man whispering in my ear, trying to regulate my breathing in through the nose, all of that sweet, warm spring air, and out, releasing stress and tension. And then he asked me, what's the one thing that's bothering you the most right now? And I sacked it off straight away because just one thing? I don't think we've got the time, Fabrizio. So then I found another meditation that asked me to visualize myself in 10 years' time. And when I tell you this vision was so clear, one day I'll properly illustrate it for you. But for right now, let me tell you, it was like looking at a frame in a film. It was like IMAX with laser. It was full HD clarity. It was 4K. It was basically 12K. It was so detailed that it properly shook me up, and I had to take a moment to sit with it. And as I was sitting with it, it was enough to get me moving. And I did that very British thing of going, right, like I was deciding to end the conversation with bad brain. Best be off, best be off. Enough now, time to take control. And what I did was take 2 pieces of paper, and on one of them I wrote things I have done. And I went in. I left no stone unturned. I didn't just talk about like big career things that I'd done. I went micro. I talked about things like moving to London. I listed every single part I'd played in every single play, whether it was at school, youth theatre, a music video, whatever. It was all on there. Career milestones were on there, but also little things like I taught myself to bake. A full roster of things that came to my mind that I had done with my 30 years on Earth. And on page 2, I wrote things I could do. And this is where I let my mind run wild. I thought about loads of different avenues, and it didn't matter if they needed qualifications or experience, or it was going to take money or years of practice or whatever. I just let my mind expand and wrote down a list of all the things that I could still do with my life that would bring me joy and purpose. There was stuff on there like become a teacher. There was stuff on there like be a studio executive who gets to decide what films do and do not get greenlit. One of those things was go to drama school, and having it on that list was the impetus for me to go and actually research what it would take for me to be able to go to drama school at this time in my life. And after years of telling myself, oh, I've missed my boat, it's not for me, you can't do this, you can't do that, I actually realised, oh, hang on, this is a possibility. I gave my good brain a bit of evidence and logic to use in the fight against bad brain, and that's what got the ball starting to roll. I remember being on the phone to my friends later on that week and saying, even if it took me 5 years, I'd only be 35 when I graduated. And guess what? I graduated drama school last year at the age of 35. Now, I'm not saying I manifested. I'm not 100% sold on the idea of manifesting yet. If manifesting was real, I'd have won 3 Omaze houses by now. But what I did do was allow myself the space to dream, and then the space to explore how I might make that dream happen. We are now 6 years down from the vision, which means I've got 4 years left to fully achieve it. And I'm going to give myself grace because the world was on a sort of sudden pause for one of those years. So let's call it 5. 5 years, summer 2031, by which time I'll be 41, which is a heinous lie and I won't stand for it. Although, as I've been told by fridge magnets and novelty mugs for years now, life begins at 40. So that's nice. And if life is going to begin at 40, it might as well be the one that I've been dreaming about. The last time I made this cake, a whole bag of mini eggs covered the top of it. That's on shrinkflation. Here is my list of things that I have done since 2020. Should we start with the big guns? Graduated Mount View with distinction, no less. I visited Boston, did a job in San Diego, did a holiday in Turkey. Oh my God, I interviewed Tom Cruise in Rome. I've travelled. Yeah, no, you're not on the list. Because you're noisy. Well, I did live wrestling commentary and I ended up on Monday Night Raw. I'm writing that one down. Even though it was only like a tiny little clip used in a montage of other clips. It's micro, but it still counts. All right, fine, I'll write you down. Got a car. I did the London Film Festival. So 2021, 2, 3, not 4, and 5. So 4 years. Oh, I got to work for BAFTA that time. That was nice. Okay, so looking at this list, obviously there's a lot of real incredible professional stuff. I tried new avenues. I did film criticism. I explored wrestling as a career, which I absolutely adored. Traveled the world doing jobs as a content creator, which was quite incredible. And the most special one of all, graduating Mount View. But what I'm realizing actually is it's quite hard to sit here and think about like personal goals that I've given much time to, which is not to say that I haven't had wonderful personal times. Like I've traveled, visited Boston, went to Turkey, saw a play at the RSC, which is something I've always wanted to do. So like I have done lots of stuff. How many London football stadiums I've gone to? Because I wanted to go to loads. Brentford, Arsenal, Chelsea, West Ham, Wimbledon, Tottenham counts. I went to see Lady Gaga. 6 is it's good innings. Oh no, I've been to Fulham and QPR. Right, that's 8. I went to 8 football stadiums in that time. That was something I did for myself. I'm noticing basically what I'm trying to say is I haven't given as much space to like personal achievements as I have to professional achievements. And that's a balance that needs to be fixed. I need to start doing things for myself and not constantly be thinking about how can I make this work. And a part of that is financial in this economy. And because I'm a freelancer, I'm constantly thinking about work and constantly thinking about how I've not, done enough. But removing like money from it, I need to start doing things that I can look back on and go, oh, I did that for me and that was really nice. So we'll take a little bit of time in the future at some point to think about what those might be, because now we're onto the list of things that I could do, which I've written in green because green is my favourite colour. Green is the colour of nature and serenity and calm and limes, and we all know limes are my favourite thing, but it's also the colour of go. So we're charging forward. I'm going to be incredibly musical theatre right off the bat and write some dream roles. I don't really have dream roles as much as I have dream venues, so I'll write those down as well. I'll tell you what, venues I want to work at. I want to work at the Donmar Warehouse. I want to work at the Royal Exchange in Manchester. I'd love to do something at the Hope Mill. I think they do some really good stuff. Old Vic, RSC, you can be on there as well. And if we're honest, a little jaunt to the Palladium would be quite nice, wouldn't it? Southwark Playhouse actually opened a new venue that is essentially a space for new musical theatre to have a go, so that's absolutely on the list. So Southwark Playhouse. Let's do some dream roles. Fiyero. Now, Fiyero is the one that I've always said I really want to play, but I've always been shy about saying it because it's obviously the romantic lead in Wicked, and to be the romantic lead in Wicked, you have to have a certain swagger and a certain look and a certain style, and I'm very aware that I don't fully have all of those things right now. My little joke was that I dreamed of being a Fiyero, but I would be a Bok, but I've come to find out I couldn't even be a Bok, I'm too tall. And as I get older, the more and more like, uh-oh, I'm running out of time to play that role. starts to be present in my brain, even though playing age is a bit different. And the Apollo Victoria is so big, if you sat at the back, you wouldn't know what age I was. Adam Garcia, when he originated the role in London, was older than I am now. And actually the guy who they've just cast for the 20th anniversary from Broadway, he's older than I am now. Age is such a weird thing in musical theatre anyway, and I should maybe try and look past it a little bit and instead focus on the things that I actually can control. And that's the point of the list. If I want to play Fiyero, what areas of my life and my talent do I need to work on so that I know that if and when I get to audition for it, getting the part, not getting the part, I've brought my best to the table. I think that's what I want from this list more than anything else. With that in mind, Phantom Valjean, he's on there. I'd be happy with Javert as well. Maybe I could do a 1-2. I want to play Sweeney, Cinderella's Prince. And in the middle of these two, I'm going to do a list of shows that it would be fun to be a part of, and I don't really mind what. Chicago, Cabaret, A Little Night Music, Chess. Obviously Chess, She Loves Me. Okay, the list could go on, but I'm gonna sort of leave it there because that gives me, that's that written down. Those have existed in my head, and now here they are on a piece of paper, so I can really start to try and focus in and think about what I need to do to give myself the best opportunity at making those happen. And because we've started with career, I'm gonna try and implement what I said a moment ago and do some personal. I want to write down own a house, or at least a flat. There's something about owning a place that I think after all these years of moving around and constantly being in flux and constantly renting, it would feel nice to say, this is my plot of land, this is my little unit, this is where I live, this is my home, I can do what I want to it. I know that owning is not like the big shiny solution to renting that it's cracked up to be. Mortgages, land rent, shared ownership, which if I want to live in London is more likely what I'm going to go. There's pitfalls everywhere. The boiler breaks, it's my responsibility, that kind of thing. But I think when you've lived the way I've lived since I was 16, the idea of owning a home is quite, quite special. Can I achieve that in the next 5 years, or at least be somewhere towards there? I don't know, but I'm just gonna write my house. I don't mind if that is renting in 5 years' time, as long as the place that I live feels like my house. This flat that we're in right now feels like a flat that we're in right now. The last flat I lived in was in a renter's development, so I was never going to stay there forever. I've had one home that felt like my home in the entire time I've lived in London, and I made the foolish decision to leave it because I wasn't operating on having full information. That's a story for another time. I would like in 5 years' time to be in a space, wherever it is, ideally owning, but it could be rented, where I feel like, I am settled here. This is my space. I'm going to write down, go to WrestleMania. There are many things that could make that impossible, including but limited to travel, ticket prices, but I've never been and I've always wanted to go, so we're going to write that down. On the same vein, Man United season ticket. Okay, let's do a couple more professional ones. I hate to say it because it feels like, I don't know, after all this time, I can't decide how I feel about it, but I think if I'm completely honest with myself and I look inwards, I would like to hit 100,000 subscribers. Even if just to say I did that, because I've hovered so close to it for all of these years. Inconsistency, a change in the YouTube landscape, so many different things have happened that have meant that I never quite hit that target. And it doesn't matter, honestly, if I never do, but I'd like it, so I'm gonna put it on the list because that can focus in on, okay, if that's one of my goals, how do I achieve it? That's the point of the list. I could become a dramaturg, someone who helps people write scripts. I actually did a tiny bit of work like that fairly recently for a production that is in development, and it made me feel really buzzy. Like it was the most creative and electric I felt in a really long time. So if I like that and if I get that feeling, you might as well chase it. I also like the idea of directing drama school productions. That's really creative. At Mountain View, we do a lot of internal shows. So obviously you have your public shows at the end of your course, but you do internal, within the studio kind of shows, very minimal, costume and props and all the rest of it, as ways of putting your things you've learned, your skills you've learned into practice. And I loved working on those. And I'm not someone who's looking at directing and thinks, yeah, I'd love to direct a West End show one day, but I do love the idea of working with actors. It's the same thing as maybe thinking about wanting to be a teacher. I like working with people to unlock their potential, and doing a drama school production internally is a great way, I think, of scratching that itch. I could write for WWE or AEW, although AEW doesn't really have writers. I could be someone who writes scripted entertainment for a wrestling company. That would bring me joy. That would bring me purpose, because I love wrestling as an art form. And let's face it, he's never going to be WWE champion. And I doubt I'd ever be a commentator on WWE TV, to be honest with you, even though I'd love it. But writing it, I absolutely could make that happen. Okay, other things I could do. Oh no, I'm running out of battery. Look, there's loads on this little list here that I really like, that I'm going to keep thinking about and stewing on. The point of the list isn't to create a checklist of things to achieve. The point of the list is to let your mind run wild a little bit and realize what things are actually important to you. When there's a lot of noise going on up here and out here, this is where you can write the things that really matter. And from there, you can start to extrapolate, okay, how do I get things in order? If I'm struggling to get going, this is what's going to prompt me to put one foot in front of the other. So I strongly encourage you to do it. I'd love to hear any other goal setting tips and tricks down in the comments below. We did it, Pen. We did it. She is here, by the way. I know like nobody can see her, but I just want you to know. So when I talk to her, I'm not just going completely insane.